Greetings each and everyone. I am JVM Bancaya and I am from Group 3 and I am here to report about the HACCP. What is HACCP? Since HACCP is an abbreviation, I will discuss to you what it stands for. Next is the HACCP in the Philippines. Next up is the HACCP principles and application guidelines. And lastly, the fish and fishery product that is in need of HACCP. So first, before I proceed to explaining to you what is HACCP, I am here to discuss about the overall objectives of this report first, which is to know the principles and regulations of HACCP in the Philippines, to be familiar with the FDA Seafood HACCP regulation, and to know knowledge about the fish and fishery products, hazards, and regulation. Next is to be aware about the HACCP for raw fish, processed fish, raw mollusks, processed crustaceans, and mollusks. Okay, here. What is HACCP? The H for HACCP means hazard. The A stands for analysis. The C stands for critical. And the next C stands for control. And lastly, the P stands for point. So, what does HACCP mean? HACCP is a management system in which food safety is addressed through the analysis and control of biological, chemical, and physical hazard from raw material production, procurement, and handling to manufacturing, distribution, and consumption of the finished product. Meaning, it is a management system by which it has a main goal to analyze or systematically analyze and control what is the biological, chemical, and physical hazard coming from any fish and fishery products or in the food itself. Okay, here, what is HACCP certification in the Philippines? HACCP certification in Philippines, or the Hazard Analysis and Critical Points, is a systematic preventive approach to food safety from biological, chemical, and physical hazard in the product processes that can cause finished products to be unsafe. The HACCP certification consultant in the Philippines can better implement the standard. It establishes a framework for food safety management system. It is very important for food industries to understand and implement the approach in a result-oriented manner. HACCP in the Philippines is a structured method to ensure food security or food safety by identifying and controlling the potential hazards in the production. So, the consultant here will help to implement this hazard, creating a framework. When you say about the framework, it may refer to a structured system or outline that guides the implementation of food safety measures. It will provide a set of guidelines and procedures for identifying, evaluating, and controlling hazard throughout the production process. Next is the HACCP certification in the Philippines, or the HACCP overall itself. It is a crucial, which means it is very important for food industries to adopt this approach for a safer products for the consumer, for the buyer. Next is the HACCP Principles and Application Guidelines. The National Advisory Committee and Microbial Criteria for Foods Committee convened a Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Point, or the HACCP. When you see convened, it means gather. They created a hazard control. The National Advisory Committee on Microbial Criteria for Foods, or the committee, gathered a Hazard Analysis and Critical Point, or the HACCP working group in 1995, which has a primary goal to review the committee's in November 1992 HACCP document, comparing it to the current HACCP HACCP guidelines prepared by the Codex Committee on Food Hygiene. So, upon the review, or based on the review, the committee made the HACCP principle more concise, revised, and added definitions, included sections on prerequisite programs, education, and training, and implementation and maintenance of the HACCP plan, revised and provided a more detailed explanation of the approach of the HACCP principle, and provided an additional decision tree for identifying critical control points, or the CCPs. I will explain to you what is CCPs later. The committee again endorses a HACCP as an effective and rational means of assuring food safety from harvest to consumption. Preventing problems from occurring is the paramount goal underlying any HACCP system. Kaya diba, tinatawag silang hazard analysis critical control point. It is because they will their main goal is to prevent any underlying or any problem coming from the food and fishery products, and they are the one who will check any biological, chemical, and physical hazards in the fish or fishery products or the food itself. The HACCP has 7 principles that are employed in the development of the HACCP plans that meets the stated goals. These 7 principles are: first, they will conduct a hazard analysis. Here, it will involve a systematic identifying and evaluating a potential hazard that may occur at various stages of food production. This includes assessing biological, chemical, and physical hazards that could pose a risk to the safety of the food product. Okay, next is to determine the critical control points, or the CCPs. To determine the critical control points, or the CCPs, it will involve an identifying specific points in the food production process where control measures can be applied to prevent, eliminate, or reduce, identify the hazard to an acceptable level. These points are critical because the failure to control them could result in a food safety hazard. Next is to establish a critical limits. To establish a critical limits, it may involve a setting specific criteria or boundaries to each critical points, or the CCPs, in the food production process. These limits define a maximum or minimum values for the parameters such as temperature, the time, the pH level, or the microbial level that must be met to ensure food safety. The fourth is to establish monitoring procedures, which means that developing clear and systematic methods to regularly observe and document activities and critical control points in the food production or in the food production process. It will ensure that the critical limits are consistently met. The fifth is the establish corrective action, which means that it will involve putting into place procedures to address rectify deviations or non-compliance identified during monitoring at critical control points in the food product processes. Next is the to establish or the establish verification procedure, which means that creating methods to confirm that the food safety system is effectively implemented and critical control points are consistently managed according to the established plan. The seventh is establish record keeping and documentation procedures. Here, they will create a systematic processes and accurately record and maintain documents related to food safety activities including the hazard analysis, the critical points, the monitoring, the correctiveness or the corrective actions, and the verifications of the procedures. Next, here is the fish and fishery products. The subpart, a general provision. Here are some definitions. Certification number means a unique combination of letters and number assigned by a shellfish control authority to a molluscan shellfish processor, which means that they have a code for it to know what are the things that they have done in the product, or for them to identify the product, they have a code. Next is the critical control point, which means a point, step, or procedure in a food process which control can be applied, and a food safety hazard can as a result to be prevented, eliminated, and reduced to meet its acceptable levels. Next is the critical limit, means that the maximum or the minimum value to which a physical, biological, or chemical parameters must be controlled at a critical control points to prevent, eliminate, or reduce an acceptable level the occurrence of the identified food safety hazard. Here we will proceed about the fish. We all know what is fish, right? So I will read to you about the identification. What fish means, since it is very familiar to us as a fishery students. It means it is maybe fresh or saltwater finfish, crustaceans, other form of aquatic living animals, or included but not limited to alligator, frog, aquatic turtle, jellyfish, sea cucumber, and sea urchin in the row of such animals. Other than birds, mammals, and almost where such an animal life is intended for human consumptions. Next is the fishery product, means any human food product in which fish is a characterizing ingredients. Here I will discuss the food safety hazard, which means any biological, chemical, or physical property that can cause a food to be unsafe for human consumption. It is very understandable. It may be a biological, chemical, or physical property that can cause hazard to any living organisms that eats the product, that consume the product. Next is the importer. When you say the importer, means either the U.S. owner or consignee. Here we will just give an example like U.S. Since it is the country very close to the Philippines, I will just example the U.S. here as the owner of the product being imported to the Philippines, or the receiver of the time at the time of entry into the United States, or the U.S. agent or representative or foreigner owner for the consignee at the time. When you see consignee, the receiver. Importer, for example, us will import a product from U.S. So they are the one who is consignee, which means they are the receiver. Next is the molluscan shellfish, means any edible species of fresh or frozen oyster, clams, mussels, or scallops, or edible portion of each species except when the product consists entirely the shock adductor muscle. Next is the preventive measures, which means a physical, chemical, or other factors that can be used to control an identified food safety hazard. It is very understandable. I will not further discuss it since this is just a this is just a definition, so which means it does not need any or further explanation. But if there are some things that is confusing, I will just explain it to you. Next is the process monitoring instrument, means any instrument or device used to indicate conditions during processing critical control point, or it is a device or tools used to indicate conditions during processing at a critical control point. Processing is very familiar to us as fish processing students, which means with respect to fish or fishery products, handling, storing, preparing, heading, eviscerating, shocking, freezing, changing to different market forms, manufacturing, preserving, packing, labeling, dockside, loading or unloading. When you say about processing or the fish processing, according to my learning back then, it is any product coming from the fish that is being processed to create a new product. It may what is good about fish processing is that the bones, the head, or the byproducts can be used to create a new products. Like for example, the bones of the fish. So the bones of the fish is a byproduct. Therefore, the bones can be used as a polvoron, which is back then during the pistahan something program of our seniors. They create a polvoron out of fish bones. Next is the processor, means any person engaged in commercial, custom, or institutional processing of fish or fishery products, either in the United States or any foreign country. A processing includes any person engaged in the production of foods that can be used in market or consumer test. Processor asks if you're interested in any processing companies, this and that will engage in any processing activities. We are the one who is the processor. Next, scombroid toxin forming species, means tuna, bluefish, mahi-mahi, and other species, whether or not in the family Scombridae, in which significant levels of histamine may be produced in the fish flesh by decarboxylation of free histidine as a result of exposure of the fish after capture to temperature that permit the growth of a mesophilic bacteria. Next is the shell. Shell is used to state a mandatory requirement. Next is the Shellfish Control Authority, means a federal, state, or foreign agency or sovereign tribal government legally responsible for the administration of a program that includes activities such as a classification of molluscan shellfish, growing areas, enforcement of molluscan shellfish, harvesting controls, and certification of molluscan shellfish processor. Next is the shell stack, means raw and shell molluscan shellfish. Next is should. It is used to state recommended or advisory procedures or to identify recommended equipment. Next is the shock shellfish, means molluscan shellfish that have one or both shells removed. Next is the smoke or smoke flavored fishery products, means the finished food prepared by treating fish with salt or sodium chloride or the NaCl, and Next is the subjecting it into the direct action of smoke from burning wood, sawdust, or similar materials, and or imparting it to the flavor of smoke by means such as immersing it is a solution of food smoke. Next is the tag. Means a record of harvesting information attached to a container or of shell stacked by the harvester or the processor. And that's it. That is my report. And the next slide will be reported by the next reporter. Goodbye.
So good day everyone. So I'll be going to report to you about the HACCP. So it is the hazard analysis and hazard analysis critical control point. So first we need to have the current good manufacturing practice. So in this chapter we apply in determining whether the facilities, methods and practices and controls also are used in processing different products such as fish and fishery foods that needs to be in production. So whether it is safe and whether these products have been processed under sanitary conditions. And then on this good manufacturing practice, the purpose of this also is the part wherein it's set to a certain form of requirements that is specific to the processing of fish and fishery products, so in accordance to the safety and safety protocols. So next I'm going to discuss about hazard analysis and hazard analysis critical control point plan. So in this plan we have the hazard analysis and the HACCP plan. So what is hazard analysis? Hazard analysis is the processor that the product should be conducted or have conducted. For hazard analysis is to determine, we could signify or determine whether there are food safety or hazards that are reasonably likely to occur on the products or on the kind of fish that we are processing. So in this processor, we need to identify also the preventive measures that needs to be taken if there are any in the food products that we are in production. So next is the HACCP plan. So in every processor shall have and implement a written HACCP plan wherein you need to analyze, after analyzing the hazardous examples like chemicals in our products like fish, we set up a plan and make it for revealing one or more safety hazards or more food safety hazards that are reasonably likely to occur as described in the paragraph of this section, so that other food manufacturers should have the purpose of this plan, so that the other food manufacturers should have a guide whether what to do in every products that contained any hazardous component. Next is the contents of the HACCP plan. So the contents shall have a minimum at least identified in the accordance to the paragraph. So number 1 is natural toxins. So the second, microbiological contamination, chemical contamination. Next, and the pesticides, drug residues, the composition and in scombroid toxin forming species or any other species where about safety hazard has been associated with decomposition. Next is parasites, and next is unapproved use of direct or indirect food or color additives. And last is physical hazards. So next, these are the lists of the critical control points for each of the identified food safety hazards, including as appropriate. So 1. Critical control points designed to control food safety hazards that could be introduced in a processing plant environment. And critical control points designed to control food safety hazards introduced outside the processing plant environment, and including the food safety hazards that occur before, during, and after harvest. So next is the list of critical limits must be met and each critical control points. So list of the procedures and frequencies thereof that will be used to monitor each of the critical control points to ensure the compliance with the critical limits. So the procedures and the frequencies must meet also the critical control procedures and to ensure the compliance to the critical limits. So next is include any corrective action plans that have been developed in accordance with the SS 123.7-B to be followed in the response to deviations from the critical limits to the critical control points. So correction action plans need to, when there's an hazardous components in your product, so these corrective action plans must be developed in accordance to the 123.7. Next is the list of verification procedures and frequency thereof that the processor will be used in accordance with 123.8-8. So next is provide a record keeping system that documents the monitoring and the critical control points. The records should contain the actual values and observations obtained during monitoring. So these are designing and dating the HACC plan. So the HACC plan shall be signed and dated either by the most responsible individual on site, the processing and faculty of a higher level official of the processor. So this signature shall signify that the HCC plan has been accepted for implementation by the firm.
Hello everyone, good evening. My name is Rasha Faith Jaime, and in this part I'm going to discuss the records, including its general requirements, its record retention, also its review, and so on. So in part 123.9 records, its general requirements, it should be that all records required by this part shall include the name and location of the processor or importer, also its date and time of the activity that the record reflects, as well as the signature or initials of the person performing the operation, and also there should be a appropriate identity of the product and the production code. If any, processing and other information shall be entered on records at the time that it is observed. In Part B, the record retention in paragraph 1, it should be that all records required by this part shall be retained at the processing facility or importer's place of business in the United States for at least 1 year after the date. They should be prepared in the case of refrigerated products, and for at least 2 years after the date they were prepared in the case of frozen, preserved, or shelf-stable products. And in paragraph 2, the records that relate to the general adequacy of equipment or processes being used by a processor, including the results of the scientific studies and evaluations, should be also retained at the processing facility or the importer's place of business in the United States for at least 2 years also, and after that, the applicability to the product being produced at the facility. Then the paragraph 3, if the processing facility is closed for a prolonged period between seasonal packs, or if record storage capacity is limited on a processing vessel or at a remote processing site, the records may be transferred to some other reasonably accessible location at the end of the seasonal pack, but shall be immediately returned for official review upon demand. And then on Part C, where is the official review, where all the records required by this part, and all plans and procedures required will be available for official review and copying at a reasonable time. So in paragraph D, in section D, public disclosure, in paragraph 1, where it says that the subject to the limitations in paragraph D2 of the section, where all the plans and records required by this part are not available for public disclosure unless they have been previously disclosed to the public as defined in part 20.81 of this chapter, or they relate to a product or ingredient that has been abandoned and which is they no longer represents a trade secret or confidential commercial or even financial information as defined in part 20.61 of this chapter. So in the paragraph 2, where it says here the limitations, the subject to the limitation that has been mentioned in paragraph 1, so the paragraph 2, where these records and plans may be subject to disclosure to the extent that they otherwise publicly available, or that disclosure maybe could not be reasonably being expected to cause a competitive hardship, like the generic type of HACCP plans that reflect the standard industry practices. So in section E, where the tags, so tags is defined in part 123.3, which is, it has mentioned before sa recent reporter, and it is not subject to the requirements of this section unless they are used to fulfill the requirements of part 123.28 in paragraph C. And then in section F, where the records maintained on the computers. So it states here that the maintenance of records on the computers is acceptable, provided that appropriate controls are implemented to ensure the integrity of the electronic data and signatures. Now in part 123.10, where it talks about the training. So it states here that at a minimum, the following functions shall be performed by an individual who has successfully completed training in application of HACCP principles to fish and fishery product processing, at least equivalent to that received under standardized curriculum, which is recognized as adequate by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, or who is otherwise qualified enough to go through in this what we call the job experience to perform these functions. So the job experience will qualify an individual to perform these functions if it has provided knowledge at least equivalent to that provided through the standardized curriculum. So in paragraph A, in developing a HACCP plan, which it includes here the adapting a model or generic type HACCP plan. So that is appropriate for a specific processor, which is in order to meet the requirements of 123.6, part 123.6 in paragraph B. So here it states here in paragraph B, where they're reassessing and modifying the HACCP plan in accordance with the corrective action procedures specified in part 123.7, paragraph C5. The HACCP plan in accordance with the verification activities specified in part 123.A, paragraph A1, and also the hazard analysis in accordance with the verification activities specified in part 123.8 paragraph. And then Also, the performing the record view is also required, which is naka-state siya in part 123.8 paragraph 8.3. So the trained individual need not be an employee of the processor. Now in part 123.11, where the sanitation control procedures, in paragraph A, the sanitation standard operating procedure, where each processor should have, or they should implement a written sanitation standard operating procedures, which is it is referred to as SSOP, or this also can be recognized as a similar document that is specific to each location where fish and fishery products are produced. So the SSOP, it should specify where how the processor will meet these or those sanitation conditions and practices that need to be monitored in accordance with paragraph B of this section. So here in paragraph B, the sanitation monitoring that mentioned above, so each processor shall monitor the conditions and practices during processing with sufficient frequency to ensure at a minimum a conformance with those conditions, and also the practices is specified in part 110 of this chapter, so it will be mentioned later, and in subpart B of part 111 of this chapter that are both appropriate to the plant and the food that will be processed and relate to the following. So here are the following appropriate that need to be followed or need to in according to the proper process of food. So first is the safety of the water. The water should be safe that comes in contact with food or food contact surfaces or is used in the manufacture of ice. Second, condition and cleanliness. So that is very important when it comes to food contact surfaces, then including its utensils, gloves, and outer garments. Third, the prevention of cross-contamination from insanitary objects to food packaging material, and also the other food contact surfaces, including also the utensils, gloves, and outer garments, and from raw product to cooked product. Then fourth, the maintenance of hand washing, and as well as its hand sanitizing and toilet facilities. So fifth, click to open paragraph 2's protection of food, its food packaging material, and the food contact surfaces from adulteration with lubricants, fuel, its pesticides, the cleaning compounds, the sanitizing agents, condensate, and other chemical, physical, or even biological contaminants. And then 6, there should be a proper labeling, storage, and the proper use of toxic compounds. And then 7, the control of employee health conditions. So it should be checked, or there should be a result in the microbiology that the health conditions of the employee should check or control, because that could be result in the microbiological contamination of food. Also it's the food packaging materials and the food contact surfaces. And then last but not the least, the exclusion of pests from the food plant. So the processor shall correct in a timely manner like those conditions and practices that are not met. So in part C, the sanitation control records. So it should be that the each processor shall undergo in or maintain a sanitation control records that at a minimum they should document the monitoring, the corrections which is prescribed by paragraph B of the section. So these records are subject to the requirements of part 123.9. And then paragraph D, the relationship to HACCP plan. So the sanitation controls is also included in the HACCP plan, which is it is required by part 123.6 in paragraph B. However, to the extent that they monitored in accordance with paragraph B of the section is there are like some circumstances that they need not be included in the HACCP plan or vice versa. So the next slide will be going to discuss by my groupmates. That's all. Thank you.
I am Jasmine Igano and I'll be reporting about the special requirements for imported products. Okay, let us now move forward to the special requirements for imported products. This refers to the specific regulations or conditions that must be met for products that are being imported into the country. It indicates that there are additional rules or standards that imported goods need to comply with. This section sets forth specific requirements for imported fish and fishery products. This means that there are particular guidelines or criteria that apply specifically to fish and fishery products that are being imported. These requirements could include quality standards, labeling regulations, or other specifications that need to be met in order for the imported products to be globally sold distributed in the country. There are 4 special requirements for imported products, but we are going to tackle first the importer verifications. Every importer of fish or fishery products shall either have the fish or fishery product being imported could come from a country that has a Memorandum of Understanding or the MOU or a similar agreement with the Food and Drug Administration or the FDA. This agreement should cover the specific fish or fishery product and demonstrate that the inspection system of the foreign country is equivalent or compliant with the U.S. system. The agreement should be up to date, functional, and enforceable. The second one is the importance to have written verification procedures in place to ensure that the fish and fishery product they import into the United States have been processed in accordance with the requirements outlined in this part. And these procedures should include, first, product specifications that aim to prevent adulteration under Section 402 of the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, which includes the potential for health hazards or unsanitary processing conditions. And second one, the procedures should also include affirmative steps, which may vary but are intended to ensure compliance with the regulations. Here are some affirmative steps. A. Importers should obtain the Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Points or the HACCP and sanitation monitoring records from the foreign processor that pertain to the specific batch of fish or fishery products being imported. B. Importers should obtain a certificate or either on a continuing basis or for each batch from a relevant foreign government inspection authority or a competent third party. This certificate should certify that the imported fish or fishery product has been processed in accordance with the requirements outlined in this part. C. Importers should contain regular inspections of the facilities of the foreign processors to ensure that the imported fish or fishery product is being processed in compliance with this requirement of this part. D. Importers should keep a copy in English of the foreign processor's HACCP plan on file. They should also obtain a written guarantee from the foreign processor stating that the imported fish or the fishery product is processed in a proper way. Letter E. Importers should periodically test the imported fish or fishery product and keep a copy in English also of a written guarantee from a foreign processor stating that the product is also processed in accordance with this requirement of this part. And the last one, affirmative, is the importers may employ other verification measures that are deemed appropriate and provide an equivalent level of assurance of compliance with the requirements outlined in this part. These measures should be in line with the regulations. Okay, let us now proceed to other special requirements for imported products. The second one is the competent third party. Importers have the option to hire a competent third party to assist with or perform the verification activities mentioned earlier. This includes tasks such as writing the importer's verification procedures on their behalf. And the third special requirements are the records. Importers are required to maintain records in English that document the implementation and outcomes of the affirmative steps mentioned earlier. These records must comply with the relevant provisions outlined on the previous page. The fourth is determination of compliance. There must be evidence that all fish and fishery products being imported into the United States have been processed in accordance with the regulations stated in this part. If there is no assurance that the imported products meet the same standard as domestic processors, they will be considered adulterated and will not be allowed entry. Now we are on the subpart B, which is the smoked and smoke-flavored fishery products. In general, subpart A of this part is supplemented by specific requirements outlined for the processing of smoked and smoke-flavored fishery products. It provides additional guidelines and regulations for ensuring the safety of this product. In the process controls, processors of smoked and smoke-flavored fishery product, excluding those covered by part in previous pages of this report, must include in their HACCP plans how they are addressing the food safety hazards associated with the formation of toxin by Clostridium botulinum. This control should be maintained for the entire shelf life of the product, even under normal and moderate conditions. And now, we are going to discuss the subpart C, which is the raw molluscan shellfish. In general, add specific requirements to Subpart A of this part for processing fresh or frozen mollusk and shellfish without a treatment that guarantees the elimination of microorganisms that pose a public health risk. The source controls the processors must include in their HACCP plans on how they control the origin of the mollusk and shellfish they process to ensure compliance with regulations related to microbiological contamination, chemical contamination, natural toxins, and other food safety hazards. They should only process a shellfish harvested from approved growing waters and avoid harvesting from closed waters.
Hi, I am Rose Darlene P. Veloso. I'll be reporting the part of Subpart C, Raw Molluscan Shellfish. So C, to meet the requirements of paragraph B of this section, processors who receive shell stock shall accept only shell stock from a harvester that is compliance with such licensure requirements as may apply to the harvesting of all mollusk and shellfish. So, ang processor only mag-receive lang if ang shell stock, ang i-accept lang nila na shell stock from a harvester is that na ay compliance, licensure requirements gikan sa gobyerno and nakaagi siya sa HACCP na plan. And from a processor that is certified by a shellfish control authority, syempre from control authority, and then has a tag affixed to each container of shell stock. So dapat na-adjud tag ang by box or by container ang isa ka product or ang shellfish na affixed to each container. So the tag shall bear at a minimum the information required in subpart 124.0.60b of this chapter. In place of the tag, both shell stock shipments may be accompanied by a bill of lading or similar shipping documents that contains the information required in subpart 124.0.6b of this chapter. Processors shall maintain records that document that all shell stock have met the requirements of this section. So, dapat kung ang mga processor, always jud nila i-maintain ang records ang dokumento nga sang shell stock na na-meet nila ang requirements sa section C of raw molluscan shellfish. So, these records shall documents first kay ang date sang harvest. Second, kay ang lugar kung di nag-harvest, ang state, kag ang site mismo. Number 3, ang kadamuon, ang quantity sang number, unsa na type of shellfish ang gi-harvest. And number 4, date gyapon sang resibo, date sang resibo nga gihatag sang processor. And lastly, the name of the harvester. So, pangalan kung kinsa ang nag-harvest, the name or registration number of the harvester, so or the identification number issued to the harvester by the Shellfish Control Authority. So dapat na-adjud ang identification number issued nga gihatag sa processor sa harvester by the Shellfish Control Authority. Next is D. So, to meet the requirements of paragraph B of this section, processors who receive shocked molluscan shellfish shall accept only containers of shocked molluscan shellfish. So, kung may ara pa ibandra na mga iba nakasagol nga like hamba seaweed, dili na dawaton sang processor kay only ang shocked molluscan shellfish lang dapat ang ilang nga i-accept nga container. And that bear a label that complies with subpart 1240.60C of this chapter. So sa nabanggit ko gaina, dapat tong mga names ang harvester, identification number, dapat para ma-meet ang requirements, dapat na sa D, dapat na ato tanan na tong 5 na gibanggit ko kagaina sa chapter sa D. So, sa processor shall maintain records that documents that all shark, molluscan, shellfish have met the requirements of this section. So, sa part C kagaina, itong mga 5 na na-mention ko, dapat asa container isang molluscan shellfish. So, these records shall document. Another is the date of receipt, ang resibo nga na ay petsa. Number 2, the quantity and type of shellfish, pila ang number sang type sang shellfish nga ara sa container. Number 3, the name and certification number of the packer or repacker of the product. So, dapat naka-indicate po sa container ang pangalan or tag certificate number sang nagpack sang shellfish, molluscan shellfish sa container. Next is what is seafood HACCP. So, the seafood HACCP is a systematic approach to guide food business dealing with seafood on how to minimize the risk of foodborne illness, mga disease nga ara sa seafood, para mabawasan ang mga sakit nga makuha sa seafood, and increase consumer confidence. Syempre, makatabang ang seafood HACCP sa mga consumer para dili sila mahadlok nga kaunon ang seafood kay naagi naman sa HACCP. A seafood HACCP plan involves conducting a hazard analysis and implementing appropriate control and preventive measures throughout the production system of every seafood business. So, ang HACCP plan kay nag-conduct siya sa hazard analysis, syempre, and nag-promote siya sang safety para sa mga consumers. As seafood possess such a high risk of foodborne illnesses, you must ensure that any seafood handled by your company is safe when being processed. The mandate for seafood business to implement a HACCP plan is under the Code of Federal Regulation, particularly the 21 CFR Part 123. Under this food safety regulation, all seafood processors are required to comprehensively identify and potential hazard and food safety issues that can occur at any point of production. To identify whether your food processing business qualifies for seafood HACCP plan, here are some examples of seafood products under the food safety regulation. First is fish. Under sa fish is ang freshwater, saltwater, farmed, and wild. So, dapat ang mga fish nga ara sa freshwater, saltwater, farmed, and wild, mag-agi siya dapat sa seafood HACCP plan. Next is smoked fish, shrimp, crab, and lobster, including imitation crab meat. Bisan, ara pa na siya sa imitation na siya gikan sa ibang bansa, mag-agi tanan nga mga na import diri sa Pilipinas, mag-agi na siya gyapon sa HACCP plan. Next is the eel, squid, and octopus, fish oil, shellfish, including some shellfish is ang mussels, clams, oysters, and ang scallops. Next is the canned tuna, crab, sardines, mackerel, anchovies, and etc. Sea urchin, fish sauce, caviar, turtle, frog, alligator, and lastly ang shark. So, why does seafood have its HACCP process? So, kailangan ng seafood HACCP regulation, i-introduce siya to be specific to threats to foods because and safety possessed by seafood as opposed to other food products. So halimbawa, ang isa ka part sang HACC plan kag ang HACCP training kay magtest sila sa water kung diin ang imuha nga seafood na gikan. Then kung halimbawa ang tubig nga to is toxic, so ang seafood nga na harvest nimo is no longer safe to be processed and sold. So amo na ang importante sang HACC plan nga kailangan ang tanan ng mga seafood nga ginakaon is maagi siya sa HACC plan and HACCP training by sa professors. So seafood is susceptible to a range of contaminants, and therefore seafood HACC plan is a must for your team. So tanan nga mga kumpanya dapat na-adjud HACCP plan and HACCP training ang mga processors. The particular HACCP system established for the seafood industry aim to ensure that the foods that consumer gets are safe and free from food safety hazard. So, dapat sa ang mga HACCP system is naka-establish jud ang industry or ang kumpanya mo nga aim nila nga i-ensure dapat ang mga gina-process nga food nga para sa mga consumer. The seafood industry employs different operation as with others. As such, a stringent HACCP plan designed to address the potential seafood safety hazard from this industry has been formulated.
I am Adrian Q. Sunsana and I'll be reporting the Seafood HACCP video series. The FDA has developed a video series, Seafood video series, aims to enhance understanding of key concepts outlined in the fish and fishery products, hazard and control guidance. And D6 video, the time temperature indicators, time and temperature control during unrefrigerated processing, secondary processor receiving and storage control, heat process validation, and primary processors chromotoxin controls overview and testing at receiving, and primary processors chromotoxin controls harvest vessel records is crucial for seafood industry, industry and regulatory bodies. Sa next slide is matakal siya kung asa siya mag-focus and madiscuss dito kung unsa ang mga strategies for controlling pathogen growth ng anak. First is time temperature indicators or TTIS. It is focusing on utilizing the time temperature indicators or TTIS to manage the growth of toxin production of Clostridium botulinum in refrigerated, reduced oxygen and packaged seafood products, and it explores the various varieties of Clostridium botulinum, it explores the various varieties of C. botulinum or Clostridium botulinum and ways to control it, like freezing or putting up several barriers. On the other hand, the time and temperature control using unrefrigerated processing is this video discusses the strategies for controlling pathogen growth during the processing of ready to eat and cook ready to eat seafood products without refrigeration. It covers topics like evaluating time and temperature exposures during unrefrigerated processing and developing temperature profiles to ensure food safety. Next is secondary processor receiving and storage control. This video focuses on controlling sclerotoxin formation and pathogen growth and seafood by implementing rigorous receiving and storage protocols, including continuous temperature monitoring and equipment calibration. Next is meanwhile the heat process validation video, and it discusses the essential steps in validating heat processes for seafood products, such as identifying target pathogens, determining pathogen reduction requirements, verifying effectiveness, and establishing control measure and in HACCP plan. And that's all.
So, primary processor sclerotoxin controls. Overview and testing at receiving discusses the general strategies recommended by FDA for preventing. So, sclerotoxin formation at the receiving critical control point. The video discusses how sclerotoxin is formed, the type of fish susceptible to sclerotoxin conformation, monitoring internal temperatures, conducting sensory examination, and histamine testing consideration. So, harvest vessel records. Discuss the harvest vessel record control strategy recommended by FDA for preventing sclerotoxin formation at the receiving critical control point. This video discusses onboard chilling parameters for different harvest conditions, factors to consider when landing both live and dead fish, and the types of recorded observations that when included on harvest vessels records. So, recommended International Code of Practice, General Principle of Food Hygiene. Primary production should be managed in the way that ensure that food is safe and sustainable for its intended use. Where necessary, this will include avoiding the use of areas where the environment poses a threat to the safety of food. So, kailangan natin yung mga areas natin ay malayo sa mga threat sa safety sa ato ang food. And then, controlling contaminants, pests, and disease of animals and plants is such a way as not to pose a threat to food safety. So, also sa mga mga pests and diseases of animals and plants ang threat to food safety. So, last is the adapting practices and measures to ensure food is produced under appropriately hygienic condition.
I am Jorson Montemayor, and today I will discuss about the environmental hygiene. Potential sources of contamination from the environment should be considered. In particular, primary food production should be carried on in areas where the presence of potentially harmful substance would lead to an acceptable level of such substance and food. Kailangan natin i-consider yung lugar na malinis upang maiwasan yung mga harmful substance sa food production natin. Hygienic production of food sources. The potential effects of primary production activities on the safety and suitability of food should be considered at all the times. In particular, this includes identifying any specific point points in such activities where a high probability of contamination may exist and taking specific measures to minimize the probability. And then the HACCP based approach may assist in the taking such measure, sea hazard analysis and critical control. And then producers should, as far as practicable, implement measures to control contamination from air, soil, water, feedstuffs, fertilizers, including natural fertilizers, pesticides, veterinary drugs, or any other agents used in primary production. Control plant and animal health so it does not pose a threat to human health through food consumption or adversely affect the suitability of the product, and protect food from fecal and other contamination. Kailangan ng producers na implement itong mga measures na ito, kagaya ng pagkontrol sa contamination sa hangin, din sa tubig, and other na mga feedstuffs para upang makontrol yung contamination ng mga unwanted na mga substance sa pagkain. And then pangalawa is yung kontrolin yung sa plant and animal. Tignan nila kung carrier ba ito ng disease para hindi maging threat sa human food. And then protect the food sources from fecal and other contamination. Handling, storage, and transport. Procedures should be in place to sort food and food ingredients to segregate material which is evidently unfit for human consumption. Kailangan talaga nakasegregate yung food at saka yung food ingredients na ginagamit, kasi hindi siya unfit siya sa human consumption. And then dispose of any rejected material in hygienic manner. Kailangan talaga nakadispose yung mga ginagamit na yung nagamit na ng mga hygienic matter upang maiwasan yung mga madudumi. And then protect food and food ingredients from contamination by pest. Dapat protect natin sa mga peste, kagaya ng yung mga cockroach or something like that. And then chemical, physical, or microbiological contaminants or any objectable substance during handling, storage, and transport. Care should be taken to prevent, so far as reasonable, practicable, deterioration and spoilage through appropriate measures, which may include controlling temperatures, humidity, or other controls. And then cleaning, maintenance, and personal hygiene at primary production. Appropriate facilities and procedures should be in place to ensure that any necessary cleaning and maintenance is carried out effectively, and appropriate degree of personal hygiene is maintained. And kailangan talagang maintain yung hygiene ng mga naglilinis o yung mga maintenance personnel upang maiwasan yung mga transfer ng mga unwanted na mga harmful substance.
So, hello everyone. I'm Ivan Moisoles and I'll be the last reporter for Group 3. So, to continue, hazard analysis and critical control point play a crucial role in ensuring food safety. First is risk reduction for consumers. So, HACCP helps control potential hazards that may be present in food by identifying critical control points, or CCPS, where risk can be managed. It acts as a preventive shield against lurking dangers. So, meaning, ga-act siya na shield para sa mga possible na hazards, mga danger na nasa atong food. It establishes critical limits, monitoring procedures, and corrective actions to maintain tight control over food safety. So, nasa mga standards, nasa ginasunod na limits sa mga ginamonitor niya ang procedures, something ana. Next is preventing foodborne illnesses. So HACCP prioritize food safety hazard for businesses. This proactive approach helps prevent foodborne illnesses and allergic reactions. So HACCP is important siya, especially sa mga food businesses. By implementing HACCP plan, food businesses reduce the risk of consumers by controlling hazards that could be present in food. So, na siya prevention para sa safety sa mga consumers. Next is product recall reduction. A well-executed HACCP plan minimizes the recall of contaminated products due to processing errors or other issues. It is also not only protects consumers but also prevents financial loss for businesses. So, ang HACCP is dili lang siya important sa consumers para silang safety, sa business itself para sa ilahang standing, and para wala sila financial loss, dili mga bankrupt ang ilang or mag-cause og ka ng mga legal action bitaw. So, evidence of due diligence. Having a HACCP plan provides evidence of due diligence. In case of legal action resulting from food contamination, it demonstrates that the business took necessary precautions. Na mo ni akong ginaingon. Pag in case na legal action, dili din makasuhan ang isa ka food business pag gi-conduct nila ni na process or approach. Next is legal compliance with HACCP is mandatory for all food businesses. Mandatory guys, so need jud na i-conduct na siya, especially sa mga food businesses. Lastly is it helps building consumer trust. So HACCP reassures consumers that food businesses take hazard seriously. When consumers see that a business follows HACCP principles, it builds trust and confidence in the safety of the food they consume. So, pag i-conduct nimo ng HACCP na approach, expected nimo na magtaas imong profit. Kaya ang mga consumers nimo, gina-reassure nimo sila na imong food is safety and quality. So, in summary, HACCP is not just a regulation. It's an internationally recognized system that ensures safe food production and protects consumers from potential risks. So, in conclusion, HACCP is not just a systematic approach. It is a practice that need to be done in any type of food businesses in order to ensure quality and safety of the food na gina-consume sa consumers and ang quality na ginahatag sa mga food businesses. So that would be all. Thank you. If you have any questions, you can message gv.bankaya.edu. You can message gv.bankaya@msujensan.edu.ph. So that would be all. Thank you.